Our fourth port of call in Iceland in as many days, and our last stop before sailing back across the North Atlantic, came on a cold, foggy, misty morning as we cruised up the fjord leading to Seyðisfjörður. The clouds almost seemed an eerie sentinel as they lined the banks of the fjord. The outskirts of Seyðisfjörður appeared as we started seeing traffic and all the evidence of civilization. A spin, as the crew got set to drop the anchor, gave a good view of the fjord we had just cruised. As the ship bobbed and twisted, the tenders were going back and forth for anyone brave enough to go exploring in the rain. Another spin gave a good view of the town, and the ferry parked for the day. Russ and I decided to brave the elements and go ashore with Bruce and Missy. The tender ride was cold, but short and sweet, and we were off exploring. Due to the rain, I didn't take a lot of video, so I've added more pictures than normal for the town of Seyðisfjörður. It was less than a 5-minute walk across town to one of the highlights, the Blue Church. Outside is a rainbow road leading to the church, a must-do photo location when in Seyðisfjörður. Following the rainbow road, we saw some uniquely painted buildings and wandered into a hotel restaurant where we thought about having a pastry, but decided to pass, which someone wasn't happy about. Back outside, we continued our walk and found a small grocery store where the pastries were not missed this time. We wandered around the store for a few minutes, checking out all the different options and trying to guess what the words meant. The pictures were easier to interpret. The souvenir magnet display was like a highlight reel of all we had seen over the past 3 weeks. Except the puffins. We're going to have to come back and see the puffins. We were too late for those. Back on the street, we walked a little further, enjoying the sights, and followed this river, which eventually led us to a waterfall. The hike to the falls seemed popular, but the snow on the mountains was turning into heavier rain below, so we headed back to the ship and O'Sheehan's for lunch. What do you think of your view for lunch?
Oh, it's a very nice lunchtime view. It's awesome.
By mid-afternoon, the tenders were being brought back aboard, and it was time to say goodbye to Iceland. The past 4 days had given us a taste of its raw power of nature, and we were hooked. As we cruised back down the fjord, we discussed our options for returning and spending more time exploring. We might know a few folks that might go with us. Another sail away means more balcony time, and today's views were scenic, dramatic, and moody. As the time lapse of our sail away will show, the clouds that were sentinels earlier now seem to dance as we left them behind. The following morning had the making of a beautiful day on the North Atlantic. Highlights included several whale sightings. Those never cease to be exciting. Otherwise, it was a relaxing day on the Norwegian Star. Pre-dawn, Thursday, September 26th, had us nearing the town of Lyric in the Shetland Islands, off the coast of Scotland. Today is going to be a cruise highlight excursion. We had a lot of great excursions on this cruise, but today's, called Puffins, Ponies, and the Past, was a rare opportunity to not only see Shetland ponies in the Shetland Islands, but to visit a 4,000-year-old Viking settlement. Unfortunately, the Puffins have already left for the season, so we'll just have to keep them on our bucket list. We had booked a semi-private excursion with a total of 15 people, including the 7 of us. We were told to look for a Viking on the pier, but we're not sure what exactly we were looking for. Then, a Viking showed up, shuttled us off into his van, and we were off and going. Our tour guide introduced himself as Sven and told us how he became a tour guide, a little bit of the history of the Shetland Islands, and how he is Scottish by nationality but Viking by blood, and told us how he participates in a local Viking annual festival, and even showed us the picture in his full Viking regalia. Our next stop was at Carol's Ponies, where we learned about Shetland ponies, which have been kept in the Shetland Islands since the Bronze Age. They are known for their strength and were used as workhorses for millennia. Carol was happy to talk with us and answer all our questions, and the ponies were happy to pose. This is our entire group of 15, and it's so much nicer doing a small group tour where you don't have big busloads of people at every stop. As we drove to our main destination of the day, we made frequent stops, such as at this war memorial, and enjoyed the quaint villages lining the road along the island's coast. The scenery was breathtaking, quaint, quiet, just scenic. You wanted to just sit on that bench all day and watch the world go by. A castle under construction, a little more history, and a photo op with the real Viking descendant. Then we passed a local we were told is in her 80s and rides her bike everywhere. We later saw her miles down the road. Another stopped to show where an ancient brogue used to stand. And then we got to see a really cool airport.
The other one crosses over, so we have a north to south and an east to west, depending on what way the wind is and best for the pilots to land.
Yeah.
She
missed that.
Yeah.
We'll be coming back across it on our way back, so don't you worry. But yeah, this weekend there's going to be an evening charity walk or run around the runways.
It really was an interesting airport, and we learned a little more about it on our way back. Our next stop was at Sunberg Lighthouse Visitor Center and Nature's Reserve. It is located at the southern tip of mainland Shetland Island and is home to puffins in season on these cliffs. They had just left a week or two prior to our arrival. There is a lighthouse from 1812 and world-class scenery, including a rainbow we all had to pose in front of. A whale skull, they are common here, and a historic lighthouse considered modern in Shetland Island terms, were part of the scenery that was so amazing we just walked around taking pictures. Until we discovered the snack bar and homemade goodies, which were as amazing as the views. The local residents donate baked goods and hot coffee to raise funds to help preserve the lighthouse. A peek into the visitor center, and off to our main destination of the day, Jarlhof. Jarlshof literally means Earl's house, the home of the local Earl. The center building was occupied until the 1600s, and in the 1890s a storm uncovered the mound and homes dating back 4,000 years to 2500 BC, and shows how people lived from the Stone Age to the Bronze Age to the Vikings. They all lived on the same site. Our guide, Sven, really made the past come alive as he described the progression of the homes we were seeing, from the round houses with the little entrance that you had to crawl through, to the invention of windows, to the Viking longhouses. Each one was a little different and showed a little more progress. But you really could imagine how tough life was on this rocky inlet. Inside the visitor center, the displays helped put together what we saw and heard outside. You can only imagine being so isolated that the same families lived in the same locations for thousands of years and the hardships they endured. They truly were resilient. back to the airport, where this time we stopped and learned a little bit more.
We've got 2 runways crossover,
Coming right
so we can
there.
go from left to right, east to west, north to south. So there's we can go take off 4 different ways.
Here it comes.
You better get down, huh?
What's that window on
Wow.
You're too high.
It's pretty high.
Well, you missed 100 yards of runway.
With extra luck, there's one about to take off as well. So that's charter for the oil rigs. So that's specifically oil workers in there.
Yeah, so they'll fly up here and then be chopping off to the rigs. And it's a pretty busy service as well.
The next thing we knew, we were back on the ship, saying goodbye to the Shetland Islands. As the ship sailed back out the fjord, we were feeling blessed to have had such an incredible day.